Carries. Next item on the agenda is Resolution 2022-0102, introduced by Commissioner DeWitt.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We're going to read this resolution, and once we get it read in and seconded, then we'll have some discussion on it. Going to be limited discussion. We've got 3 people that we're going to recognize at the end of after the motion has been seconded, because they're spokespeople for most of you. There's also one other thing I want to say before we do this. In the last paragraph, I'm going to change some wording, and I'll read it when I get down there. So, just to make it a little bit more legal. To the Honorable Rick Brewer, Chairman, and members of the Hawkins County Board of Commission in regular session, met this 24th day of January 2022. Resolution reference declaring Hawkins County a constitutional sanctuary county. Whereas the United States Constitution and the Bill of Rights serves as the fundamental document that establishes the role of the federal government and defines the limitations of the federal government with respect to its inability to infringe upon the God-given rights and liberties of citizens, and makes explicit declarations that all rights and powers not granted to the United States federal government are reserved to the states or to the people. And whereas the Constitution of the state of Tennessee, which was ratified in 1835, also contains a Declaration of Rights, which states in Article 1 that, quote, all power is inherent in the people, and all free governments are founded on their authority and instituted for their peace, safety, and happiness, unquote. And whereas throughout the history of and subsequent amendments to the United States Constitution and the Constitution of the state of Tennessee, the foundation of liberties, freedoms, and inalienable rights has endured. And whereas recently proposed legislation and executive orders from the President of the United States and Congress and the executive branch of the state of Tennessee have sought to limit or eliminate certain traditionally held rights of people guaranteed under the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the state of Tennessee. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Hawkins County declares itself to be a constitutional sanctuary county and reaffirms the protections of liberty found in the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the state of Tennessee. And be it further resolved that no agent, employee, or official of Hawkins County in his or her official capacity shall knowingly participate, whether by act or by omission, in conduct that infringes upon any individual's rights as expressed by the United States Constitution and the Constitution of the state of Tennessee. And be it further resolved that any agent, employee, or official of Hawkins County is encouraged, here's what I'm going to change. It reads as it was written, to decline participation, but I'm going to change that to say they're encouraged to object to and or legally fight any action by either the state of Tennessee or the federal government when, in the opinion of the agent, employee, or official of Hawkins County, said action may result in the infringement of any right of a citizen of Hawkins County as enumerated in either the Constitution of the United States or the Constitution of the state of Tennessee. Mr. Chairman, I so move.
Motion by Commissioner DeWitt, second by Commissioner Alvis. Is there any discussion?
I'm going to recognize a few people, Chairman. I'd like to first bring Jack Parker up. Jack is spokesperson for most of you in this room. So Jack, we're going to limit you to 3 minutes.
Good evening. My name is Jack Parker. My wife and I moved to Hawkins County about 12 years ago after I retired, more or less, from University of Tennessee and Oak Ridge National Lab. And I'm here tonight to talk about this resolution to designate Hawkins County as a constitutional sanctuary county. So what is a constitutional sanctuary, and why should we adopt this resolution? So-called sanctuary cities like San Francisco pledge not to prosecute those who violate immigration laws, nor those who steal, those who set fire to other people's property and other criminals, as they deem politically useful. In contrast, a constitutional sanctuary pledges to follow the laws with the U.S. and state constitutions and the Bill of Rights, while refusing to pass or enforce those contrary to those foundational principles. In short, these two concepts are polar opposites. But why do we need a resolution? After all, elected officials in the county and elsewhere all agree and make a pledge to follow the Constitution. Unfortunately, many of the, at the highest levels of government in particular, find it expedient to break or severely distort their oaths when it's politically expedient. We see the effects of this on a daily basis as the country we knew crumbles beneath our feet and our rights evaporate like snowflakes in the sky. Personally, I don't have much hope for reforming the corrupt federal system with its many lawmaking agencies run by unelected so-called experts with revolving doors to cash-laden corporations. I believe that local government is our best hope to save this country. And this resolution is a step towards returning power back to the people. I've spoken to many county residents who agree with me. I've also spoken to a couple of citizens who were upset by my suggestion that this resolution might discourage left-leaning people like themselves from moving to Hawkins County. On an individual basis, I'm sorry to have hurt people's feelings, well-meaning people who disagree with me. However, the self-styled elite in this country who control the federal government, the news media, social media, academia, and business, big business, consider us deplorables. Domestic terrorists who would have no right to bear arms, no freedom of speech or religion, no equal justice under the law, and no right to work or pursue happiness. Against this backdrop of blatant illegal aggression, we peacefully encourage those who disagree with us and with these basic principles of the Constitution and the Bill of Rights to find another place where they may be happier and their beliefs would be shared by their neighbors.
Parker, that's your 3 minutes. We'll need to wrap it up, please.
Okay. So in summary, we need our county and others to take a stand to uphold the God-given rights of our citizens, and this resolution, I believe, strongly advances that objective.
Okay. Thank you.
And if I could just make a suggestion.
Real quickly.
If people want to ask questions, it might be more efficient if we let the other two speakers go and then do them all at once.
Yeah. We're going to get the next two recognized. That we're going to recognize, and then we'll move on from there. Thank you. Sheldon Livesey. Sheldon, same thing. You've got 3 minutes, and I've spent 3 minutes saying hello to you before, so I know it's going to take.
Amen, brother. Amen.
Thank you, commissioners, for the work you do for our county. If I were Reverend Peter Muhlenberg in 1776, I'd be preaching a fiery message from Ecclesiastes 3. There's a time for everything. And this is a time that we conclude that we should stand around our county and protect the rights that we've been given by God. Muhlenberg understood the sacrifices of those early colonists. He signed up 300 members of his congregation to fight in the 8th Black Robe Regiment. And you're asking, will it make a difference to make Hawkins County a constitutional county? And the answer is we believe it will. Our county can make a difference. Without that Black Robe Regiment, we would have lost the Revolutionary War. Never before has our nation been under attack like it is today, and our freedom. Moses and the Hebrews out of the wilderness were attacked by the Amalekites. Moses was told to raise a staff, meaning that they looked to God for their help. When that staff came down, they began to lose. Aaron and Hur came to their side to help them. Was it worth the pain? Yes, it was. And why? Because of perspective. In the valley in front of them, the battle was going on. But in the valley behind them was their families. It was their families, their wives, and their future. Our founders set aside authority at the county level because they understood that a county can act as a Moses. You are protecting everything that we have value in. I believe God has raised each of you for such a time as this. He has positioned you with this in mind. 1,463 families have moved in our county in the last 2 years. Many have fled persecution where they lived. Our residents need us to protect them. These newcomers need us to protect them. Our children and our grandchildren need us to protect them. In that document of the 57 founders, pledging their lives, fortunes, and their sacred honor to provide for us truths that are self-evident, that all men are created equal, endowed with their Creator with unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We have the opportunity to take these words seriously and be a government that will stand on God's principles, protecting the freedoms of those that live here. And lastly, it's going to take more than you. It's going to take us standing beside you and for you and supporting you and praying for you. But I believe if we do this together, God will stand for us. Thank you.
We've got one last official recognition that has to be recognized, and then we'll move on from there. So, Jolly Garland.
That's going to be hard to follow. That's for sure. For those that don't know me, commissioners, friends, and the audience, my name is T.J. Garland. I live at 415 West Main Street in the middle of town. My father was Fred Garland, a retired TVA. So you probably know him. I've been gone 30 years. I'm here to ask you to vote for this resolution. In 1803, Thomas Jefferson and James Madison had a disagreement on lame duck appointments. Well, it got a little out of hand and it went to the Supreme Court. Scholars believe, like some of these lawyers here, that it was the single most important decision in American constitutional law. I'm going to tell you why. It was Marbury versus Madison. I'm hoarse, I'm sorry. I've been talking all day. It was Marbury versus Madison, 5 U.S. 137. Justice John Marshall's landmark decision established that the U.S. Constitution is actual law and not just a statement of political principle. It also defined the boundary between the executive and the judicial branches of government, which is real important today. Summed up, Marbury versus Madison declares that any law repugnant to the Constitution is null and void. It has not been repealed. I believe you commissioners, like myself twice, swore an oath to the Constitution to support and defend our Constitution. And we are asking that you reaffirm that oath tonight. Thank you.
Okay, that's the three official recognitions. I think it's probably representative of everybody, most everybody in this room, what's been said, but if there's anybody that wants to speak in opposition, I can give you 3 minutes.
Call for question.
Okay. Sorry. Hang on, we've got one coming real quick. Let us know your name and
Bobby Smith,
okay.
and my family moved here in the mid-70s. They lived in Ishton on a farm. I
Could
came
you
tonight.
speak into the mic, please?
Okay, I came tonight because I read the guest column by Jack Parker, and I noted 3 things. One, that it talks about the Constitution. I think you're correct that everybody in this room supports the Constitution, both federal, the state, and also our county laws and ordinances. We already have that. One of the main tenets of the Constitution is separation of church and state. And we have a variety of religions in this country. We are not even necessarily all God-fearing. Some of us are God-loving. Some of us are Muslims, or we're Buddhists, or we're a variety of Christians that are not represented in this group, but are represented in our county. So that's one thing. If you're looking at the Constitution as it relates to being God-fearing. Okay, the second thing was the statement about coming here. I think Mr. Livesey just said 1,400 and some families have come here because Tennessee is a welcoming place to live. It welcomes everyone. It welcomes everyone. If by God-fearing you mean following the 10 Commandments, you mean loving your neighbor as yourself. It doesn't mean agreeing with your neighbor on every issue. It doesn't mean dividing yourself from others because you disagree. The last thing is about encouraging those who somehow share some values unknown to me that some people have, that perhaps those people should look elsewhere for a welcoming place to live. I always want to say that Hawkins County was and is a welcoming place to live. Because you disagree on a political issue or a religious issue, you do not turn away your neighbors.
Respectfully, that's your 3
And
minutes.
I'm done.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any other discussion? Are
Any
you
further
ready?
questions or discussions? I have one right here.
I might just say 15 seconds.
Real quick.
I moved here from Washington State to escape the tyranny because the Constitution is not being respected in Washington State. I support all religions. I support everything about the Constitution, and I love what Hawkins County has to offer. And I'm here to support the resolution because I want to support what this county stands for.
Thank you.
You're recognized, Commissioner Reverend.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. A lot's going on in our country, and I know there's a great movement to have sanctuary cities, have sanctuary counties, even sanctuary states, because we all fear what's going on. We have very little control over. When we look at the Constitution and the First Amendment, that's probably the most important part of that whole Constitution, and it's the formation of our legislative branch that gives government of the people, by the people, and how we're structured. I'm not opposed to people wanting to have a sanctuary city. I'm opposed to the fact that maybe enough people haven't participated in knowing about the pluses and minuses of it. And so I thought that maybe this should have actually gone to committee, been in the paper, and had more people who live in Hawkins County to participate in this change that we're about to undertake. We as commissioners are sworn to uphold the laws of the state, also the laws of the federal government, of the Constitution. But my only drawback was that it really should go back to committee and be discussed so that we all have, even as commissioners, we could go among our constituents and explain to them why we're doing what we're doing, rather than that we need to do it. That's all I have to say, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Any other discussion?
Call for questions.
Just one more.
Sorry.
Mr. Chairman, Brewer, one more.
Yes, my name's Larry Thomas. My wife and I moved here from Maryland 2 years ago. And I love Tennessee. I've always wanted to live here my whole life, but I never could get here until I retired. And I love the people here in Tennessee. It's a great place to live, great place. I don't know of anybody here that doesn't love their neighbor. I mean, I hear this, but I'm around people are friendly. All we're asking here is to protect our constitutional rights from a government that wants to steal them away from us. And you need to understand, once you allow it to start, you will never be able to stop it. It will run through this country like a plague. You think the coronavirus was bad? No. When they start taking our rights, you might as well just, your children are gonna have nothing. Our grandchildren are gonna have nothing. It's important we leave legacies for our kids and our grandchildren. They can know we stood up and did the right thing in our life for them. Thank you for hearing me.
Thank you.
Everyone ready to vote? Everyone cast your vote.
$18 yes, 1 abstain, 2 absent.